Okay, so if you're someone who's ever put off a big life decision, or maybe even just, hesitated to speak up in a meeting
Yeah.
because you were just spending all this mental energy worrying about what other people might think, how they might judge you,
Uh-huh.
then you are absolutely ready for this deep dive.
Hmm.
We are tackling that core human struggle, the paralysis, really, that comes from the fear of what other people think.
It's like an invisible fence, isn't it? It
Yeah,
keeps so many people just operating way below their potential.
exactly.
And we kind of know deep down that giving someone else veto power over our choices
Mm,
based on like their potential disapproval, it's irrational.
right.
But that feeling of anticipated judgment, it's just so strong. It ends up dictating our lives,
Mm.
leads us into these cycles of um, hesitation, self-doubt.
And often, yeah, profound regret down the line.
Definitely.
And that's exactly why we're diving into a framework today that's really designed to just dismantle that fence completely.
Yeah.
Our sources today are drawing heavily from excerpts of Pride, Opinion, and Self-Determination, and specifically focusing on this methodology called the Let Them theory.
Yeah, and it's powerful. Almost you could say uh, radically counterintuitive.
How so?
Well, it starts with this one single, like, non-negotiable principle.
Mhm.
You have zero, absolutely zero genuine control over what someone else actually thinks of you.
Zero. That's stark.
It is. And the theory says the moment you stop trying to wrestle that control back, you fundamentally change how you make decisions. The whole calculation shifts.
Okay, so our mission today then is to really explore why trying to control those thoughts is, well, not just useless, but actively harmful.
Exactly. It consumes time, energy, resources we desperately need for our own path.
Right, and we'll show how accepting that, negative opinions are just kind of ambient noise, like a feature, not a bug of life.
Acknowledging that is the essential first step. It's a prerequisite for personal freedom, for self-determination.
Okay, let's get started. Let's unpack the sheer scale of this problem first.
Right. We have to begin by just nailing down the fundamental impossibility of what we try to do when we worry about judgment,
Okay.
trying to micromanage what pops in someone else's head. It isn't just difficult. It's like biologically, neurologically impossible.
And the source material really drives this home. It uses this just staggering metric.
Yeah, the 70,000 thoughts number.
Exactly. It reminds us the average person cycles through roughly 70,000 thoughts
Yeah.
every single day.
And that number isn't just big, it's chaotic.
Chaotic, right?
Think of it like a constant, unfiltered internal monologue.
Yeah.
Just this rush of, sensory data, memories, desires, random song lyrics popping in.
Uh-huh.
Judgments, worries, most of these thoughts are fleeting, totally random, and super specific to that person's own context at that moment.
Right.
And if you just pause for a second, right now, you can immediately see how impossible it is to control the sheer chaotic volume of your own mental landscape.
I think that's the real kicker, isn't it? If I can't even manage or stop the random thought that pops into my own mind,
Yeah.
like, judging the person ahead of me in line for their shoes, or suddenly worrying about an email I sent 3 weeks ago.
Totally random stuff.
Right. If I can't control half the thoughts bouncing around in my brain, then labeling the attempt to control someone else's 70,000 daily thoughts as ludicrous.
It's almost an understatement.
It really is. It's just an insane way to spend your mental energy.
It truly is.
Mm.
And the material really challenges you, the listener, to think about the cognitive load, the cognitive budget, you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
All the energy that gets allocated to this completely pointless exercise. We spend time trying to engineer a specific outcome inside someone else's head.
Like, they must approve of my career change, or they have to validate my choice to move, or even...
They must think I look good in this hat.
Yeah, and we use huge amounts of energy just predicting things. Hours rehearsing conversations, crafting the perfect email,
Delaying the project.
or even changing our own behavior entirely, all based on an assumption about a thought that might exist in someone else's mind later on.
And this whole attempt to control the external thought environment, it comes from a deep place.
Right.
A societal need for belonging, for approval.
Sure.
But the source material is really clear. This wasted effort, it comes at a severe cost to your own agency, your self-agency.
That's so.
You're effectively giving away your internal power. You're handing it over to an external, completely uncontrollable variable the second you get consumed with trying to control what others think.
You lose control of yourself.
Exactly. You lose the ability to feel truly in control of your own feelings, your own actions, your own life. It's gone.
So, okay, we established this is like scientifically, psychologically, a totally futile effort, a complete zero-sum game.
Right. Wasting, as the sources say, your most valuable resource, your time.
But I have to ask the tough question here. If we accept it's futile, how does the let them theory stop us from just, you know, throwing out the baby with the bathwater?
Ah, good question.
How do we tell the difference between the random, useless judgments we should ignore and maybe legitimate constructive feedback we actually need to hear?
That's a really essential distinction. And the let them theory isn't like permission to just be an inconsiderate jerk who ignores everything.
Okay, good.
No, it's about recognizing the source of the thought and, more importantly, your motivation for caring about it. The moment you prioritize seeking validation, you actually invite confirmation bias.
Meaning you only hear what you want to hear or fear hearing.
Exactly. You only hear what confirms your existing fear or your desire. The theory, instead, pivots the focus completely inward. The goal shifts. It's not about preventing negative thoughts anymore.
It's about accepting they're just there.
Yes, accepting that they are normal, they are constant, and crucially, they are utterly irrelevant to your core decision-making process.
So, if we accept this external noise as constant, then the revolutionary insight isn't about finding silence, it's about acceptance.
Precisely.
It's the moment you stop fearing others' opinions and you grant them permission to exist. You simply allow them. Let them think it.
Exactly. You just acknowledge, okay, people are already having negative thoughts about me, about my decisions, my appearance, whatever, because that's just what human brains do 70,000 times a day.
Right.
By adopting that posture, that mindset of let them,
Yeah.
you neutralize the power that anticipated judgment has over you.
You take away its leverage.
You take away the leverage that fear has over your decisions. It can't dictate terms anymore.
Okay, but this shift from trying to prevent judgment to just granting permission, that feels hard to internalize, especially when we think about the people closest to us, the ones who love us most. It's one thing to say, let some stranger judge me, but it's much harder to accept that the people we respect, the people we rely on, also constantly have critical or negative opinions about us.
It is harder. And the author of the source material does an absolutely brilliant job of proving this exact point. She turns the lens inward.
Yeah, the examples are incredibly candid.
Incredibly candid, specific examples from her own most cherished relationships. And what they show is that negative thoughts are completely, utterly decoupled from genuine, lasting affection.
And this level of detail, I think, is so critical for you listening because it makes the whole concept immediately relatable, not just abstract theory.
Absolutely.
She starts, famously, with her husband, Chris. She loves him deeply, calls him the person she respects most, and yet she immediately shares her internal monologue.
Right. And that monologue happens literally moments after he wakes up. She says, I love him more than any human being on the planet.
Right.
But when he lets out that huge, unvarnished morning fart, her instant fleeting internal thought is, you are disgusting.
Wow.
And it's just a thought.
It's just a thought. A tiny automatic blip in her 70,000 thoughts for that day.
Exactly.
It's a purely negative opinion based on a momentary annoyance, right? And it doesn't chip away at the foundation of the relationship. It just is.
It just exists for a second.
Yeah.
And the analysis doesn't stop there. She brings in the pet.
Homie the dog.
Yes.
She adores this dog, loves him. Yet every single day around 5 p.m., the pre-dinner panic starts.
The pacing, the panting.
The demanding food with this relentless enthusiasm and her recurring internal judgment. He is a giant pain in the rear end, and he needs to chill.
Pure irritation.
Just a thought of pure irritation. Born of love, but still irritation.
It's the universality of these constant, tiny micro-judgments that really sells the theory, I think.
It really does.
And she applies the same rigorous honesty to her kids, proving that even unconditional parental love doesn't grant a free pass from critical thoughts about their behavior or their personality traits.
Not at all. Take Sawyer, her oldest daughter, the one who actually helped co-write the book.
Right.
The author describes her, quite frankly, as a complete control freak.
Okay.
Says when things aren't precisely to Sawyer's standards, she gets overbearing, hyper-intense, and goes into what the author calls an OCD cleaning spiral.
Which stresses everyone out, I imagine. Yeah. Exactly. Leading to negative parental judgments about her rigidity, even while loving her immensely.
And there's that side note in the source that really drives home the persistence needed to push through judgment, right?
Oh, yeah, the book writing itself.
The author says she nearly severed parental rights during the writing because she kept blowing up the manuscript and starting over 11 times.
11 times.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Sawyer's judgment in those moments?
Oh, it must have been sky high. Probably thinking her mother was difficult, stubborn, maybe even destructive to the whole process.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yet they finished the project together. They got through it.
Which is the core proof right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Judgment and cooperation, even love, they can absolutely coexist.
They absolutely can. Then there's the middle daughter, Kendall, living in L.A.
Right.
The author notes that whenever Kendall FaceTimes, she seems to be wearing an entirely new, often designer, outfit.
Uh-oh. I see where this is going.
Yep. Immediately triggers the mother's financial judgment. I think she is irresponsible with her money, and the last thing she needs is more clothes.
A classic parental judgment. Based on values, even if it's totally internal.
Totally internal. And finally, the son, Oakley, who she initially jokes is literally perfect.
Only to immediately say,
Just kidding. Oakley's flaw. For the first hour he's awake, he refuses to make eye contact or speak to anyone.
which the author just labels.
Rude. Plain and simple. A judgment.
But what makes this section so incredibly effective, I think, is the flip side.
Yes. When she turns it around.
She then details the adjectives her own children use to describe her.
That's quite a list.
It is messy, disorganized, loud, controlling, always late, over-friendly, a know-it-all.
And significantly, they have strong negative opinions about her sharing their lives online for her business. They judge that choice.
And yet, they are clearly a deeply loving, functional family unit.
Exactly.
That is the absolute critical takeaway here for everyone listening. Just because someone has a negative opinion about a specific behavior or a momentary reaction or a particular trait.
Like the fart or the cleaning spiral.
Right. It does not mean they feel negatively about you as a whole person. They are separate things.
Completely separate.
Yeah.
You can judge the fart, you can judge the cleaning spiral, and you can still treat that person with profound respect, kindness, and deep love.
So this is what the source calls the two truths.
That's it. Truth one. Adults will have negative opinions about you and pretty much everything you do. It's inevitable.
Okay.
Truth two. Those opinions do not need to diminish your inherent worth or change the love in the relationship or dictate your actions.
Once you really embrace that, truly internalize it as just a fact of relational life.
Then you stop wasting all that emotional energy trying to defend against it or change it or prevent the inevitable.
You just say.
You just say, let them think it. It doesn't have power over me.
Okay, so if acceptance is the reality, then the next step is actually moving into liberation, actively. We shift from fearing judgment to almost proactively granting permission for that judgment to even exist.
It's a conscious shift, yeah. It's empowering. You're giving them the freedom to feel whatever they feel so you can claim the freedom to act.
So this isn't just passive resignation like, oh, well, they'll judge me.
Not at all. It's active assertion. And the source material actually lists the specific permissions we need to grant to the outside world. It's about turning their potential criticism into just background noise.
Okay, let's hear them. We need to internalize this list.
Right. You say to yourself, let them judge. Let them react. Let them doubt you.
Let them question your decisions. Let them be wrong about you.
And this one's crucial. Let them roll their eyes.
Ah, the eye roll.
Yes, that applies to every single creative endeavor, every life change you make, every boundary you try to set. When you decide, okay, I'm starting that new business, I'm posting those videos, or I'm moving across the country, or even...
I need to scrap this huge project I've worked on for months and start over.
Exactly. Like the author blowing up the manuscript 11 times. That eye-rolling you might anticipate, that momentary skepticism, that's their business.
Yeah.
It's not a signal for you to stop or change course.
We really need to connect this directly to the life paralysis so many listeners feel. Because this fear of judgment, it really is the main culprit behind stagnation, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
the mechanism that dictates choices and actively halts progress.
Right.
It's why people procrastinate endlessly.
Right.
It's why perfectionism becomes this paralyzing, self-imposed prison. And it's why we consistently avoid the very work, often the visibility that would actually help us get ahead.
Like the fear dictates we have to stay small, stay quiet, stay predictable.
Exactly. And think about the huge life risks that get abandoned just because of that anticipated chorus of negative opinions. It's not just small stuff.
No, people stay in deeply unhappy marriages because they fear the judgment of getting divorced.
Right. Or they keep commuting to jobs that drain their soul rather than quitting that, say, stagnant real estate business they started.
Or they don't go back to school to learn a new skill because they're thinking, what will my cohort think? I'll be the oldest one there.
Or even something as seemingly simple but physically noticeable as a major haircut.
Totally. The thought, my family will hate it, or my partner won't like it, that's enough to make people just ask for the same safe trim again.
The fear paralyzes us right at the threshold of any change.
And this fear-based life, it shows up internally as that persistent self-doubt.
Yeah. And the material breaks this down so elegantly. It shows how our internal conversations, our self-talk, are almost always tied to seeking external validation.
Like when we feel overwhelmed, we say,
I'm not good enough. And the critical follow-up question, the one the theory demands we ask ourselves is, good enough for whom?
right. Or if you're worried about delivering bad news, that internal thought is, oh, they are going to be mad at me.
Again, ask the question, who is going to be mad? And why does their potential anger get to dictate my necessary action?
And the most common one, the really insidious one, what will my friends think?
And the definitive answer, according to the let them theory, is beautifully simple. Whatever they want. Let them think whatever they want.
Okay, so by repeating that, by accepting the reality, adults will have negative opinions about your outfits, your decisions, your future plans.
You reclaim your agency. This is the moment you actually step into your power. You move from being on the defense.
But being on the offense.
Exactly. You stop trying to manage all that external chaos, and you start focusing on your internal alignment. What feels right to you?
And that shift is what gives you the ability to finally claim your full, unedited potential. The internal dialogue changes.
It moves from seeking validation, can I do this, will they approve,
Yeah.
to asserting authority. Let me
live my life in a way that makes me proud.
Let me make decisions that align with my deeply held values, even if they turn out to be unpopular.
Let me take risks because I want the outcome, regardless of the commentary.
And this, I think, is where the theory goes beyond just basic self-help.
Yeah.
It taps into real psychological clarity.
Awesome.
Because every time you consciously choose to implement let them, you're actively pushing aside all that surface noise, the judgments, the worries, the external fears. You're clearing it out of the way.
Right.
And this deliberate act, it creates space, mental space, emotional space.
And in that space.
That cleared space is what allows your intuition, your own internal truth, that unique path you're genuinely meant to be on. It allows it to finally rise to the surface.
The path that was maybe buried under layers of anxiety about what others think.
Exactly. It's the path your soul or your deepest self, whatever you want to call it, has probably been nudging you toward all along.
It's amazing how much quieter the world gets inside your head when you realize you don't have to perform for it anymore.
Precisely. And think about all the energy you save, the energy you're not spending on engineering approval. It's now free to fuel your actual ambitions, your real life.
Okay, so if we've successfully, or at least are working on cutting out that fear of external judgment, we definitely need a new way to measure our choices, a new metric.
Yes, a new North Star.
And the let them theory offers a really profound replacement for that judgment-based life. It says, make decisions that make you proud.
This is the ultimate pivot, isn't it, to intrinsic motivation. It places you firmly back in the driver's seat of your own life.
But we need to be careful here, right? Because making yourself proud could sound, I don't know, narcissistic, selfish.
That's a fair point, and the source material is quick to clarify this. It's absolutely not a license to just be an inconsiderate bulldozer who runs over everyone's feelings.
Okay.
It's really about navigating that careful balance, the balance between prioritizing your essential needs and values while still respectfully managing the expectations of others around you.
So it's that constant negotiation. You don't want to be a doormat, right?
Right.
Someone whose decisions are completely dictated by trying to avoid disappointing others.
No. But you also don't want to be the bulldozer who just ignores the impact their actions have altogether.
So pride-based decision-making sits somewhere in that powerful middle ground, guided by your core values.
Exactly. It's guided by your internal compass of what feels right and integral to you. And to show exactly why this internal metric of pride is so much better, so much more reliable than the external metric of approval.
The authors give that incredibly relatable, detailed test case. The weekend dilemma.
Oh yeah, the weekend dilemma. It perfectly captures the sheer futility of trying to please everyone.
Okay, let's walk through this, because it sounds agonizingly familiar for many people, I bet.
I think so. So picture this. You have a pivotal weekend coming up. Friday night is a close friend's milestone birthday party, the kind you feel you have to attend.
Okay.
But it requires a 4-hour drive, one way.
All right.
At the same time, you promised your parents months ago you'd be home Saturday afternoon because your beloved grandparents are visiting. And that requires another 4-hour drive in a completely different direction.
Oh boy, pulled in three directions. Friend, parents, grandparents.
Totally. And as a dedicated, recovering people pleaser, you decide, I must do it all. I must be all things to all people.
The impossible task.
The impossible task.
Yeah.
So you stay out late Friday night at the party. You drive the 4 hours. You probably don't sleep much.
Right.
You wake up super early Saturday morning, jump in the car, and immediately drive the second 4 hours to your parents' house. Arriving late Saturday morning, exhausted.
You have literally moved heaven and earth. 8 hours of driving, barely any sleep. But internally.
Internally, you might feel this profound sense of pride. I did it. I showed up for everyone. I bent over backward for the relationships I value. You met the challenge.
Okay. But here comes the sting, right?
Here comes the sting. What is the actual external reward for this Herculean, pride-inducing effort?
What happens?
You learn later, maybe through the grapevine, that the birthday friend was actually deeply upset that you left the party early
No.
and said to mutual friends something like, I don't know why she even bothered coming if she could only stay for one night.
Ouch. Okay, and what's the response to that, according to the theory?
Let them feel that way. It's their feeling.
Okay, so what happens at the parents' house?
You arrive there, tired, probably still wearing yesterday's clothes.
Yeah.
You get a hug from your mom, who immediately leans in and whispers,
Oh, no.
your grandmother was so disappointed you weren't here when she arrived last night.
Ugh, the guilt trip.
Maximum guilt trip. And then maybe she adds, and we need to leave for lunch in 10 minutes. You need to change. Just twists the knife.
Wow. That story is painful because it just lays bare the absolute transactional failure of trying to live in the approval economy.
Totally. Lesson 1, which we keep hitting on, is just brutally reinforced. Even the most physically exhausting effort, even bending yourself into a pretzel to please everyone.
It will not guarantee a positive opinion. It might even backfire.
It often does, which leads directly to lesson 2. This is the critical priority shift that defines the theory.
Okay, what's lesson 2?
The reason for the effort, the motivation, must be strictly internal. You should not go to the birthday party so that your friend thinks you are a good friend.
You go because...
You go because that action, showing up for people you care about, even for a short time, makes you feel like a person who aligns with your value of loyalty. It makes you proud.
Nah, okay. Same for the grandparents.
Exactly. You don't drive home to see your grandparents because it makes your mother happy or because it saves you from a guilt trip. You go because prioritizing family time brings you genuine satisfaction. It aligns with your internal sense of what is right and valuable to you.
The motivation has to be entirely within your own control, not dependent on their reaction.
That distinction, shifting the motivation from hoping for external approval to generating internal pride, that's everything. And the material makes a really sharp difference between making decisions driven by guilt versus making them driven by self-pride.
What's the difference in outcome?
Guilt is toxic as a motivator.
Yeah.
Because it externalizes control.
Right.
You're doing it because of them. And crucially, it often turns the other person, the friend, the parent, into the villain in your head.
Right, you comply.
Exactly. Guilt forces compliance. Pride, on the other hand, cultivates commitment. When you choose a path, because you'd be mad at yourself if you didn't.
Meaning you'd be violating your own core values.
Yes. Then you are acting from a place of autonomy. You're taking full ownership of your decisions. That's intrinsic motivation, and it feels completely different. It's empowering.
Okay, so the conclusion here is pretty powerful.
It's powerful and simple. When you are operating in a way that truly makes you proud of yourself, when you're meeting your own standards for integrity, for effort, for living your values,
then the external opinions of others they lose their gravitational pull.
they really do. Someone, somewhere will always be disappointed by the choices you make. That's just a fact of life.
So the goal isn't to avoid disappointing others.
No. The singular, overarching goal is to ensure that the disappointed person is never, ever you. Don't betray your own standards.
That completely reframes what success looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Success isn't getting everyone to approve. It's unwavering self-integrity.
Precisely. Living in a way you respect.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive has really, I think, illustrated the profound freedom that comes when you just grant people the permission to judge you. Let them think what they think.
The power we're all seeking, the fulfillment we strive for, it's never going to be found in their approval. It just isn't. It's held entirely within the consistency of our own actions and that feeling of internal pride.
We've gone from seeing how futile it is trying to control 70,000 daily thoughts to adopting this really robust, pride-based metric for making decisions, clearing out the noise, clearing out the distraction, making space for intuition and authenticity.
And we've focused quite a bit on, daily management, career choices, those logistical compromises like the weekend dilemma.
Right, the everyday stuff.
But the sources, as they wrap up, they kind of hint at the absolute high-stakes application of this theory.
Mm.
When the cost of disappointing someone you love feels potentially life-altering.
And that leads us to the ultimate, maybe the most challenging application of let them.
The big one.
What if your mother, or maybe your entire immediate family, doesn't like the person you are going to marry?
Oof, yeah. That takes the let them theory from being just a useful life management tool
Something much bigger.
to a defining philosophical statement about commitment, about identity, about autonomy. It raises that essential gut-wrenching question: how do you maintain your integrity? How do you assert your happiness and claim your life when the decision involves permanently changing the structure of your core family relationships?
It forces you to choose, doesn't it? Between seeking that deep-seated external validation from family and honoring your most profound internal commitment to your chosen partner and path.
A deeply unsettling thought,
Yeah,
and one that would require the absolute maximum courage that the let them theory is designed to cultivate.
definitely something to mull over, something to think about until next time. Thank you for diving deep with us today.